Hey there, and welcome to the weekly Asylum and Immigration Reform Update, where I share with you 5 recent stories of interest to asylum seekers and those who want to stay current on immigration news. This week, we're discussing
a federal judge has blocked a key Biden administration policy that made many asylum applicants ineligible for protection, and which was credited with contributing to a drop in arrivals by migrants in recent weeks. Immigration Impact, a nonprofit group, notes that other countries are outpacing the U.S. in attracting high-skilled immigrants, suggesting a potential failure in the global talent race. Texas Governor Greg Abbott's anti-immigration program, Operation Lone Star, is facing scrutiny over its legality and cost, with allegations of harsh treatment of migrants, federal lawsuits, and questions over its foreign policy implications. A report by the Migration Policy Institute proposes measures meant to address the U.S. immigration court backlog, such as processing new cases first, terminating low-priority cases, and using remote hearings to increase court efficiency. Efforts by the government to provide transparency on immigration court statistics have been criticized for poor presentation, questionable inclusions and omissions, and the failure to account for individual case variations or judge biases, resulting in data that raises more questions than it provides answers.
I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. It's my pleasure to bring you asylum and immigration reform updates each week right here on the Political Asylum Lawyers YouTube channel. Okay, let's get to the news. First up,
a stringent new asylum policy, crucial to the Biden administration's southern border management, was blocked by a federal judge. The policy, effective since May 12th, disqualified most asylum applications from people who entered the U.S. without a proper appointment at an official port of entry or without seeking protection in a transit country. Immigrant advocates who sued the administration claimed the policy violated U.S. law and increased migrants' risk of violence and extortion during extended waits in Mexican border towns. They also contended it resembled a restrictive Trump-era asylum rule previously blocked in 2019 by the same judge in California. The ruling is being praised by pro-immigrant groups.
And next up, for update number 2.
The nonprofit group Immigration Impact says Canada and other countries are outpacing the United States in attracting immigrants who can benefit their new country. In June, the Canadian immigration minister announced a tech talent strategy to attract high-tech talent, targeting foreign-born workers who may face difficulty obtaining U.S. work visas. Other countries, such as Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Israel, Germany, and the UK, have also implemented innovative immigration policies to attract skilled workers, entrepreneurs, and international students to support their economies and aging populations. These countries have significant foreign-born populations compared to the U.S., which had only 13.7% in 2021. The United States' outdated H-1B visa program and a declining share of the world's international student population suggests a failure to adapt to the global race for talent. Without significant policy changes, the U.S. risks falling behind in the global competition for high-skilled workers.
All right, time for our third immigration update.
Governor Greg Abbott's anti-immigration effort, Operation Lone Star, faces challenges amid increased scrutiny over its legality and cost, which is expected to reach $9 billion by next year. The program, which includes arresting migrants for trespassing and deploying the Texas National Guard to secure the border, has broad support among Texas residents. However, the state's increasingly aggressive tactics have raised concerns, with allegations of harsh treatment of migrants and injuries from razor wire barriers. The federal government has now sued Texas, demanding removal of a floating barrier in the Rio Grande River, which the government says violates federal law and has negative foreign policy implications. While some credit Abbott's policies for a recent decrease in migrant arrivals, critics argue the aggressive measures cross legal and humanitarian boundaries.
And moving right along, update number 4.
The U.S. immigration court backlog has surged to 2 million cases. An increase in asylum cases, which are more complex and take longer to resolve than many other types of cases pending in immigration court, have contributed to this crisis. Currently, it can take up to 4 years to reach a first hearing. A report by the Migration Policy Institute, a nonprofit organization, suggests measures to increase court efficiency, including processing new cases first, terminating low-priority cases, centralizing case referral to ICE attorneys, creating 2 tiers of immigration judges for different tasks, and assigning specific dockets to judges with relevant expertise. Additionally, the report proposes using remote hearings for inaccessible parties and expanding legal representation access. The report's authors believes such measures would expedite asylum cases and reduce the court backlog.
And finally, our fifth immigration update for this week.
The government's efforts at transparency on immigration court statistics are falling short. The Executive Office for Immigration Review, which runs the immigration courts and is known by its acronym EOIR, recently released information on asylum grant rates by country of origin, but it's essentially a messy data dump. The data provides figures on granted and denied asylum cases and a vague other category encompassing various outcomes. The information is poorly presented and has questionable inclusions, like uninhabited territories and omissions. The statistics, filled with asterisks instead of zeros and confusing percentages, raise more questions than they provide answers. Moreover, the data does not account for individual case variations or judge biases. Even with accurate data, without more specific information, the raw approval rate for a country may not reflect the likelihood of success for an individual case.
And that wraps up this week's immigration news. If you want to win asylum in the United States, then you should call my office today. That number is 713-352-1593. And we help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your immigration journey.